Hey, what's going on, guys? GFXLab, and check out my inner grizz. I'm gonna go snipe some kids and search and destroy. Modern Warfare 2, my favorite game out of all of them. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys about the new consoles that are coming out, the PS4 and the Xbox 720. Now, all I saw was a few things, you know, rumors, blogs, videos. I saw like the conferences and stuff like that for the PS4, but and I also like looked at some other rumors and whatnot about those two consoles. And I want to start from the very beginning, when I first, or just my recollection of all the consoles that have come out so far. When I grew up, these kids are screaming, but when I grew up, or when I was a little baby, pretty much, I remember seeing the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, the original one, and I remember seeing that and just being like, man, that's so cool. But I was too young to play it. I wasn't really into video games. I was into, like, I don't know, collecting frogs or something. I don't know where frogs came from, but I was into something else. I wasn't into that. I was into He-Man toys, or like wow, I don't know. I was into like wrestling toys, I think, or some type of toys. I think it was into Ninja Turtle toys. Anyway, Super Nintendo. Then the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis came out. Those two consoles blew the NES out of the water, and it was ridiculous. Like, we're like, oh my god, this is so crazy. This is, you know, when that came out, that's when I got so addicted to the Super Nintendo. And I remember my mom bought me she bought me Gradius, I think, and that game was way too hard for me. So and I got bored of it real quick, so I told my mom if she could go back and exchange it. So she did, and she exchanged it for Final Fantasy 2. And I think in Japan it's like Final Fantasy 4. But I got Final Fantasy 2, and that was amazing. I was so enthralled with that game, and it was awesome. And then I remember seeing Super Mario 64 for the very first time. It was ridiculous. I was like, that's in 3D. I was like, so realistic, even though it was Super Mario. But it was just like, it was such a massive event just to see that come out. And I remember seeing it and just saying like, man, I so want one of those. So ridiculous. It looked so awesome. And then I remember going to the store and playing it. It was crazy. I was in heaven at that very moment. I wish I could have just lived in that moment forever. It was a good time. And then I remember seeing the Dreamcast come out, and the Dreamcast was the same. I played Soul Calibur. So actually, back in the day, before games came out on the consoles, because no, games didn't really come out on the consoles all that much. Games came out in the arcade. Arcade was like the big thing. So especially with fighting games. So fighting games, they came out in the arcade. You would have to wait. They would come out in the arcade first, and that, even to this day, some games are like that. But they would come out in the arcade. You would get to play it at the arcade, and you would be lucky if they'd even release it on the consoles. And then they would release it on the consoles, and then you know, I think like the Dreamcast, the game Soul Calibur, when I played that in the arcade, I was blown away, and then I saw it like on my TV screen, and I was like so excited that I was playing Soul Calibur, and it was just me and my little brother, so he was the only one that had to fight. And you know, me and him, like, we got pretty good, just, you know, playing against each other, like just turning into little mini beasts, and we're like 12 years old or whatever. And the Dreamcast was amazing. I was so excited about the Dreamcast. And then, you know, I remember going to my friend's house, and he had a PS2, and he had SOCOM, and it was online. And I was like, man, that's ridiculous. You could be online playing against other people. I was like, where's this guy from? Is he from Japan or something? I was so naive when I was back then, but I was so excited about SOCOM. And me and my friends used to play that game for hours. I didn't have the internet at home, so I couldn't play that game. But back then it was 56K. If you guys are lucky that you never, some of you guys that are really young, you're really lucky that you've never played on the 56K, you would have to wait, like for porn you would have to wait an hour just for it to download a 5-second clip and then it would be like terrible. It didn't even have midgets in it. But it was just a bad time for the internet, but it was really fun. It was just the fact that you were online was pretty ridiculous. We didn't know anything about lag or anything. We saw the lag happen, but it never really was a factor. Like, we were just excited that we got to be online. And then as things came out, like then when the Xbox came out and the PS3 came out, I mean, yeah, the PS3 came out, it was ridiculous. Like, I was so excited because I remember playing Call of Duty for the first time on that game on the Xbox, and then the PS3 I remember playing God of War. All those games were just so epic and ridiculous, and I was just like so excited. Every year it seemed like whenever they released new consoles, they drastically changed in technology. Like, the technology was ridiculous, and like it would just get more and more ridiculous. Like, from the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo to the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64 to the GameCube to like every one of those games, and then like to the PS1, the PS2, PS3. Those all they just got better in graphics, but they still, like, when those things came out, they were like a whole new level. The standards were way higher and the graphics were way crazier. But I don't know, I don't see, like, I've seen everything on PC. Like, PC is right now the most advanced out of everything. And I think, like, the PC, even the consoles that are come out, by the time those consoles come out, the PCs will be already like years ahead of them, and they'll already be old technology. And I'm just like, why couldn't they do something like Iron Man? You know how Iron Man, like, he walks up to his console and then there's like a hologram pops out and he messes with the hologram, and we already have motion control. All we need to do is figure out the hologram part, and then we can just play games like that. Imagine that. That would be way better. Or like, just something better that was totally changed the game, totally changed gaming forever. I guess they're going in a more like mobile route and stuff, and whatever they're focused on. But I just wasn't impressed with these new consoles. They didn't do what, when I first like saw the 64, like when I first saw Super Mario 64, it didn't do like that same ridiculous, like, oh my god, I gotta get this. It didn't do the same thing for me. So I don't know. We'll see when those games come out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And if you like this video, like it, favorite, and waste a whole box of towels to it, I guess. Or tissues. I don't know. Anyways, peace out, guys. Later.